Alright guys, welcome back to Formula One news. It's crisis time at Ferrari. Reports have it that Fred Vasseur was in a heated discussion with one of his top engineers after the Singapore Grand Prix. Furthermore, many of the Ferrari men behind the scenes are not at all happy that Charles Leclerc is so publicly lambasting the SF25 that they have created. Is this indicative of everything wrong with Ferrari right now? What do the top bosses have to say about the situation, and can they do anything about it in the short term? Red Bull have had a big turnaround in the last couple of months, and Ferrari definitely need that same momentum going into 2026 if they want both Leclerc and Hamilton to stay around any longer. I'm very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy and subscribe if you're new. As always, there's plenty to get into today. We're going to start here with a little bit of more light-hearted stuff, especially for those Ferrari fans, as it's been a difficult few rounds. The internal championship fight at McLaren, pitting Lando Norris against Oscar Piastri, has reached a sudden and intense boiling point following the contentious Singapore Grand Prix. What started as friendly competition between McLaren teammates has turned into a tense battle that could determine not just who wins the 2025 drivers' title, but whether their internal fighting hands the championship to Max Verstappen. Piastri currently leads the championship by 22 points over Norris, but the events in Singapore have created serious cracks in their relationship. The Australian driver's anger was clear for everyone to see, and his radio messages during the race showed just how frustrated he has become with his own team's decisions. The flashpoint came at turn 1 on the opening lap. Norris launched an aggressive move down the inside, making contact first. With Max Verstappen and then with his teammate Piastri. The incident damaged Norris's front wing but allowed him to get ahead of Piastri in the running order. For Piastri, it was another example of his teammate being allowed to race aggressively while he is expected to play the team game. Piastri's radio response was loaded with frustration. That wasn't very team-like, but sure, he said, his disappointment clear in his voice. Later in the race, when told that McLaren would take no action over the incident, Piastri's anger escalated. "Are we cool with Lando just barging me out of the way?" he asked. When the team confirmed they were treating it as a racing incident, Piastri's response was blunt. "That's not fair." The most telling moment came after the race when Zak Brown tried to congratulate both drivers on McLaren's Constructors' Championship victory. Piastri cut off the team radio before Brown could finish speaking, a clear sign that his patience with the team's management has reached its limit. This wasn't an isolated incident. Piastri has been on the receiving end of questionable team decisions throughout the season. In Hungary, he was asked to let Norris pass him during the race to help his teammates' championship chances. In Italy, similar team orders worked against his interests. Now in Singapore, when Norris made an aggressive move that affected Piastri's race, the team chose not to intervene. The pattern is clear to anyone watching. Despite being the championship leader, Piastri feels unsupported by his own team. McLaren's inconsistent application of their papaya rules has created a situation where Piastri believes he is being treated unfairly compared to his teammate. Team principal Andrea Stella has admitted that McLaren risks losing the trust of our drivers if they continue making inconsistent decisions. His comments show that the team recognizes too, hey, have a serious problem, but their actions suggest they haven't figured out how to solve it. The championship mathematics make this internal fighting even more dangerous for McLaren. With 6 races remaining, there are still 199 points available for drivers to score. Piastri's 22-point lead over Norris might seem comfortable, but leads can disappear quickly in Formula One. A single DNF or poor result could completely change the championship picture. More importantly, both McLaren drivers are ignoring the elephant in the room. Max Verstappen sits just 63 points behind Piastri in the championship standings. While McLaren's drivers fight each other, Verstappen has been quietly closing the gap. His second-place finish in Singapore ahead of both McLaren drivers showed that Red Bull is far from finished this season. Verstappen's presence in the championship fight should be a wake-up call for McLaren. Instead of fighting each other, Norris and Piastri should be working together to keep the Red Bull driver at bay. Every point they lose through internal conflicts is a point that helps Verstappen's championship chances. They have 2 talented drivers capable of winning races, but their inability to manage the situation properly threatens to waste this opportunity. Piastri's anger in Singapore showed a different side of the usually calm Australian. Since joining McLaren in 2023, he has been the model team player, following instructions and putting the team first. But his radio messages in Singapore revealed a driver who has reached his breaking point with what he sees as unfair treatment. The 24-year-old has grown in confidence throughout his time at McLaren. He is no longer the rookie who was grateful just to have a seat in Formula One. He is now a race winner and championship contender who expects to be treated fairly by his team. His willingness to speak up and challenge team decisions shows he won't accept being treated as a number 2 driver. Mark Webber's influence as Piastri's manager cannot be ignored in this situation. The former Red Bull driver experienced similar treatment during his career and knows how team politics can affect a driver's championship chances. Webber's guidance has likely played a role in Piastri's more assertive approach to dealing with team decisions. Norris, meanwhile, finds himself in a difficult position. The British driver has been with McLaren since 2019 and has played a crucial role in the team's return to competitiveness. He has strong relationships throughout the organisation and naturally receives support from many within the team. However, his aggressive racing style sometimes creates problems that the team then has to manage. The upcoming calendar presents both opportunities and challenges for both drivers. The next 6 races include sprint weekends, which offer additional point-scoring opportunities, but also more chances for things to go wrong. Austin, Mexico and Brazil are all circuits where overtaking is possible, meaning track position will be crucial. Each driver will be looking at the remaining tracks and calculating where they might have advantages. Norris's experience at some of these circuits could help him, while Piastri's adaptability has been one of his strongest assets throughout his career. The championship could come down to who handles the pressure better over the final stretch. McLaren's management team faces a critical decision about how to handle their drivers for the remainder of the season. They need to find a way to restore trust with both drivers while ensuring they don't hand the championship to Verstappen through internal fighting. The team's current approach of trying to please everyone while making inconsistent decisions clearly isn't working. They need to establish clear rules and stick to them, regardless of which driver benefits in any given situation. They also need to acknowledge that some level of tension between championship-fighting teammates is inevitable. The Constructors' Championship is already secured for McLaren, which removes some pressure from the team. However, the Drivers' Championship remains wide open, and the team's handling of their drivers could determine whether they win their first driver's title in 17 years or watch it slip away due to internal politics. Both Norris and Piastri have the talent to win the championship, but they need to remember that their biggest threat isn't each other. Verstappen remains dangerous, and Red Bull has shown they can still win races when everything comes together. If McLaren's drivers continue fighting each other, instead of focusing on the real competition, they could hand the championship to the 3-time world champion. The next few races will be crucial in determining not just who wins the 2025 championship, but also the future relationship between Norris and Piastri. McLaren has the fastest car and 2 excellent drivers, but they need to manage the situation better if they want to capitalise on their advantages. The championship fight between Norris and Piastri has all the ingredients for a thrilling conclusion to the season. However, McLaren must ensure that their internal battle doesn't become so toxic that it destroys their chances of winning either championship. The team that has waited so long for success cannot afford to throw it away through poor management of their driver relationship. The psychological aspect of this championship battle cannot be overlooked. Piastri entered the season as the underdog, with many expecting Norris to be McLaren's main championship contender. However, the Australian's consistent performances have put him in the driver's seat, creating additional tension within the team structure. Norris now finds himself chasing his younger teammate in the championship standings. This situation requires a mental adjustment that not all drivers handle well. The pressure of being behind while racing for the same team creates unique challenges that both drivers must navigate. The media attention surrounding their battle has intensified significantly. Every radio message is analysed, every team decision is scrutinised, and every interaction between the drivers is examined for signs of tension. This external pressure adds another layer of complexity to an already difficult situation. Looking ahead, both drivers have long-term contracts with McLaren, which means they will need to find a way to work together, regardless of how this championship battle ends. The relationship they build or destroy over these final 6 races could define their partnership for years to come.